Good morning there, everybody. A little bit dark out here, but this is the only quiet place in the house. I had a couple of a couple of videos I made yesterday trying to explain a few points on how I feel about society in general, and I always come up short. Even with a really long video that's heartfelt, I always come up short trying to explain myself. When I was younger, I wrote a lot of poetry, and it's been a while, but I've written a couple of short books and hundreds of poems, and whenever I do, it seems like I get my point across a little better. So I wrote a poem to try to express myself, and it turned out to be 4 pages long. So I'm just going to try to go ahead and say it. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It's called Our Minds. When traveling through even the darkest of forests, in the worst of weather, one cannot help but be taken by the beauty. And although death and decay may be ever present in every corner, on every level, it is accepted as part of the whole. Decay is merely a transfer of energy, and beautiful in its own mysterious way. The wonder and amazement are not lessened by mere recognition of thorns and poisonous plants, nor by the fierce teeth of the wolf tearing at the flesh of the lamb. We accept this as life, as the way things have always been, always will be. Why then do so many of us walk through the urban jungle, or the new forest, with disgust and hatred? What great standard of existence are we imposing on our fellow man? What expectations are we projecting onto our society? Why do we belittle even the best pack leaders? Is it that the wolf does what it does for survival, and man should know better? Who should care if the wolf exists at all? Who should shepherd the lamb and protect it? Is it our concern at all? Is life out of our hands anyway? Do we delude ourselves by seeing only the decay and ignoring the blossoms of our existence? The man who is faulted for recognizing the beauty in his own kind has become the outcast, the sheep, the idiot. He has become the fool. For to even hint at appreciation of the new forest has become passé, outdated and archaic. The system has become the scapegoat for our fears and ails, for it's easier to live as a prisoner in our own minds than to admit we are only free if we choose to be. It's funny, really. We assume we are somehow more mature than the wolf, that we are separate from nature. We pretend to be one, yet cannot come together to agree on even basic human rights. This tells a story that the rights of some will always be threatened by the needs of the many, and for the forest to grow, there must be decay. But it does not have to be perceived as negative, merely process. We anthropomorphize everything, and really, who can blame us? We give God our own feelings, jealousy, egos, and animosity, and do the same thing with our planet. We give ourselves eternal life, reincarnation, souls, or whatever gets us up in the morning. Then we argue about who's right and who's wrong, and call people idiots for wanting the same things that we do: happiness, security. Through different means, a different God? How dare they? So, our own fear of insignificance drives much of what we think about our lives and our world. Seen through the eyes of the cosmic all, nothing is insignificant because it exists. Because we exist. Well, we can choose that adventure if we like. So remember, when you walk through the forest, it may be that you see the trees, while another inspects the soil, and yet another man may close their eyes and smell the fresh air. But we all walk in the same forest. Interpretation, as I see it, is 9/10 of existence. The physical existences and processes in life are very real, and while they may seem impossible to change in reality in the material world, they can be easily transmuted in the mind. In your mind, my mind, our mind. Mankind has promoted fear, control, wars, pestilence, hatred, and destroyed his own land. But mankind has also brought art, love, appreciation, music, health, and science breakthroughs that would make our ancestors and our descendants proud. And we deserve to recognize such. The underlying archetypes and patterns which adorn our lives are there to be appreciated. Some seek this appreciation through mathematics, some through geometry, some through art or poetry, and yet some seem to merely exist to take it all in. The leaders, the followers, the introverted and the extroverted, the merchant and the customer, the lover and the warrior, the thinker and the fool, all circuits and capacitors in this vast complex of the human machine, working together, yet fighting viruses, bacteria, and disease, keeping our bodies and minds at ease. The microcosm within the macrocosm. As above, so below, and on we go. Good day, my friends.